I'm Paul Mihalowicz, a real estate broker in Metro Detroit. Oakland County has over 400 inland lakes. From massive all-sports lakes like Cass Lake, it's over 1,280 square acres across 3 cities, to exclusive private lakes like Pine Lake and Upper Straits Lake and Orchard Lake, where homes sell for over $1 million or multiple millions, all the way up to $10 million or more. There's one listed right now. I've personally lived with my family on over a dozen Oakland County lakes and have personal experience on what it's like to buy and sell on them, and also the lifestyle. And I love selling waterfront, but I refuse to let my clients walk into a financial disaster blind. If you're actively looking for a lakefront home this summer or relocating to Metro Detroit and want to know which lake fits your budget, call or text me at the number below. We have sold over a dozen Oakland County lakefront homes. We know which are all sports lakes, which have public launches, and which are completely private. I will personally answer, so let's get into it. So hidden cost number 1, it's the Seawall. When buyers tour a lakefront home, they look at the kitchen, they look at the views, they look at the bedrooms. They almost never walk down to the water's edge and inspect the wall holding the lake back on their property. A failing seawall is not just an eyesore. It's really a structural threat to the whole property and the land. If the wall ever gives way, your property inch by inch goes back into the lake. I have seen properties lose up to 3 or 4 feet in 1 year after the spring thaw. In 2026, the seawall replacement cost can be anywhere from $150 to $600 per linear foot, which depends on the materials. If it's steel sheet pilings, or is it vinyl, or just boulders. For an average lot with 80 to 100 feet of lake frontage, you're looking at minimum $15,000, or could cost you over $60,000. Or even worse, that might mean a full tear out. If you buy on Cass Lake or Lake Orion, the seawalls are from the 1970s or 80s. You're virtually inheriting a 5-figure liability as soon as you buy the property. And if you do need the repair, you just can't do whatever you want. Michigan's Department of Environment, Great Lakes Authority, and Energy, which is also called EGLE, now pushes homeowners toward natural stone bioengineering using native plants and boulders. This requires specialized contractors, permit approvals that can take over 6 months, and often costs you a lot more upfront before you even get started. Qualified seawall contractors in Oakland County are booked out for 6 to 8 months right now. If your wall fails in June, you might not get it fixed till the following spring. So hidden cost number 2, it's the Michigan pop-up tax. This hits waterfront buyers more than anybody else. In Michigan, property taxes are capped by Michigan Proposal A. They can only increase by the rate of inflation or 5% a year, whichever is less as long as you own the home. But the moment the house sells, that cap is removed and the taxable value resets to 50% of the current market value. So basically, the taxes can really pop up if you purchase a waterfront home that hasn't been sold in a while. Here's why this is devastating for lakefront buyers specifically. Waterfront values in Oakland County over the past 5 years have just exploded. A house on Upper Straits Lake that sold for $400,000 in 2005 might be worth over $900,000 today. The couple who owned it since 2005 might have only been paying $6,000 in taxes a year because the taxable value was capped for 20 years. So let's say you buy the house for $900,000. Next year, your taxes will pop up to $13,000 or $14,000 a year. That's an extra $650 per month that may not have been in your original budget. I see this every day. Buyers qualify for the mortgage based on the current taxes that are in the MLS or posted online, but forget to calculate the uncapped taxes after the sale. Before you make an offer on a lake house, you have to run the uncapped tax projections. So hidden cost number 3, flood insurance. Most buyers assume lakefront homes will not flood. This is wrong. This is a wrong assumption. If any part of your property sits in a FEMA special flood hazard area, your lender will legally have to add flood insurance for the life of the loan, and there's no exceptions to that rule unless you pay cash. FEMA overhauled their pricing under the risk rating 2.0. They now calculate premiums based on your home's replacement value, exact distance to the water, and they also use the elevation of your first floor. The average Michigan policy is anywhere from $900 to $1,000 per year. But high-risk waterfront homes in Oakland County with walkout basements can see anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a year. I had a buyer on Sylvan Lake that the bank quoted them over $4,200 a year because their finished walkout was 8 inches below the actual lake level. Unlike homeowners insurance, you cannot shop carriers for better rates. Even if your house sits on a hill, if your property dips a little into the FEMA floodplain zone, you might have to pay $500 to $1,000 to a surveyor to shoot an elevation certificate just to prove that the structure is safe. This is $250 to $500 a month. That adds to your carrying costs every month and really does nothing for your equity. So hidden cost number 4, lake associations and special assessments. When you buy on a lake, you are buying into a collective management of that body of water. Most major Oakland County lakes have either a lake improvement board with a taxing authority or a voluntary lake association. They handle the water quality testing, boat launch maintenance, and most importantly, the weeds in the lake, depending on which lake you're on Oakland County. Somebody has to pay to treat those lakes every year for the weeds or for the cutting and trimming. These costs are passed on to the riparian owners. So what does that mean? The people that own around the lake. Sometimes it's only $50 to $200 a year. But on lakes with improvement boards, it's a mandatory special assessment, which shows up on your winter tax bill. It could be anywhere from $300 to $800 a year. And here's the real risk. If the lake needs a major dredging project or a dam repair, the board can levy a one-time special assessment that could be anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 per homeowner. This is exactly what happened on several Oakland County lakes in the past 5 years. You have to review your association minutes before purchasing a home on a lake. You need to ask for at least the last 3 years. If the seller can't produce them or point you to where those documents are, it's really a red flag for purchasing the property. Hidden cost number 5, winterization and seasonal maintenance. A lake house in Michigan is really a part-time job from October to April every year. The freeze-thaw cycle in Michigan is just brutal on your docks and your seawall. And if you miss the deadline before the first hard freeze, the damage may cost you thousands. Every October, you have a massive checklist. First, you have to pull your boat out and either do your winterization or send it to a marina that'll take care of that. Things like fogging, putting fuel stabilizer in the gas tanks, shrink wrapping if you're gonna store it outside or have indoor storage. That can cost you anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 depending on the size of your boat. Second, you need to pull your dock out of the water before the ice freezes and tears apart your aluminum dock and lift if you have one. You can hire a dock service. That'll cost you anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to pull it out in the fall, and another $500 to $1,000 to put it back in the spring. Or if you live on a lake where you have a lot of friends, we used to get together and help each other go house to house and pull the docks and pull the lifts and then put them back in the spring to save some money. You have to book by August because every homeowner on the lake has to do this in a 3-week window, unless you got those friends. And if you wait too long, you're definitely gonna need those friends and do it on your own. In November, the water temperature will be 40 degrees or colder. Third, if you have an irrigation system, sprinklers, and you're pulling the water out of the lake to water your lawn, every line has to be blown out with compressed air so the pipes don't freeze over the winter. A burst line can flood and really damage your seawall. So the total annual outdoor budget is anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 a year. You really need to think about this when you first purchase the home and budget that into your payments. After hearing all this, I'm not trying to scare you. You might think, is this really worth it living on a lake? The answer is absolutely yes. I've lived, like I said, on many lakes, and there's nothing else like it. But you have to buy the right lake for your budget. If you want the big all-sports experience, Cass Lake or Lake Orion gives you that starting anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000. If you want a quieter lake with less boat traffic and jet skis running around, Sylvan Lake and Massaday Lake offer you those things starting anywhere from the $400,000 to $600,000 range. And if your budget is a concern and want that lake experience and lifestyle, next week I'm dropping a video on lake houses nobody talks about in Lapeer County, where you can get a waterfront house anywhere from $200,000 to $350,000 and still have a short commute to the city or Metro Detroit if that's where your job takes you. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next video. I'm not telling you these things to scare you away from living on a lake. Living on the water in Oakland County is just an amazing lifestyle experience for you and your family. Taking your pontoon out for a sunset cruise with your friends on a Tuesday night, grilling on your deck while your kids are playing right off the dock, waking up to a perfectly still lake with the mist still falling off the water. It's really magical, and I think you guys know what I mean. But you have to buy smart. Factor in the seawall, the uncapped taxes, the insurance, the assessments, and the maintenance so your dream home doesn't become a financial nightmare for you and your family. If you're ready to start looking for a lakefront home this summer, call or text me or DM me at the contact information below. We will run the real numbers and find you which lake fits your budget. And if you want to see a list of affordable lakefront homes that nobody knows about, click on my contact information below, and I'll see you on the next one.